Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Jamie Green, and coming to you with conversation with my oldest son, my number one prince, as he is known, to discuss some issues um, that are occurring in our world today that kind of disturbing to us. Um, first, we want to first I want to welcome you back to the Let's Talk Destiny platform, number one. And and let's just dive into your response to the Supreme Court ruling yesterday about affirmative action. What do you what is your insight on that?
Well, what before we even get to the ruling, one of the most important things I think that needs to be pointed out to the people is these are things that are set in motion 20, 30, 40, 50 years prior to the actual manifestation. So it's imperative that people understand the true nature and the heartbeat of politics. So we stop being caught off guard and getting caught up in the moment. We have to realize that the powers that be plan for these things years down the road. And quite frankly, at this moment, you have politicians that are planning and strategizing the continuous enslavement of our grandchildren and our grandchildren's children. So we can't just get caught in these few decisions and say, okay, that's bad. We got to understand that still the Supreme Court is a part of a mindset and a system that is hell bent on keeping people enslaved
Yes.
in order for them to reap the benefits and fruit of the world. Now, as far as the actual affirmative action uh, situation, it's disturbing on numerous fronts. First one for me would be we know the true reason that affirmative action was even put into play was to actually give those who were not financially in a position the same benefit as those who are in financial position. So it's not to be like these hypocrites that are politicians. Let me speak clearly. The affirmative action was put in place. So if people like me and you that don't come from the 1% elite club, that we could go to the same universities or have the same chances as far as in the economic and educational arena as families like uh, Bush, Kennedy, Ford, Turner, etc. Whereas these are considered legacy students, they don't need financial assistance or student loans, but that would usually be, again, people who have been deprived of economic opportunity. So what you do with this decision is people again have to understand that all of that ties in because now, whereas you would reap the benefit of affirmative action by stating, well, I'm an African, or as the paper probably says, black or African American, that would automatically force the school, the administrators, to now look not only at your test scores, which ours are usually pretty high, but now they also have to look at giving you a nudge above the rest, even if you can't, let's say, pay for the school, even if you can't qualify for a certain assistance, then we still would have to be given the opportunity. But now with the removal, and that's just one angle, but with the removal of that, now the administrator is still not like they're going to be blind to who's trying to apply to these universities, right? So we can't fall asleep on the fact that they say you don't have to put your race there. People may say, okay, well, that's not a bad thing. That's cool. That's fair. No, it's not fair, because you still got to remember you have a host of other questions that still inform these people as to who you are and what economic background that you come from.
That's right.
So now they can just make the decision based off of that without the enforcement of the affirmative action rule. So just even on that angle and basis right there, without going into too many of them, that's going to have a long-term effect on opportunity, right? Because, many of us are not looking for handouts.
Right.
We simply telling you to get the hell out of our way and give us the fair fighting chance.
That's right.
To get what it is that we can get, right? So, but again, if you look into the history of this whole thing, then you will find in certain politicians, I believe one of the ones that they mentioned specifically was Mitch McConnell, how they were going to certain colleges and prestigious universities, speaking to students and law students and putting certain students in position, planning for 20, 30 years ahead, saying that they needed to find a way to take control of the Supreme Court. And this is again, we see what we see now playing out.
Right.
So we really got to understand the need and importance of, we got to be on top of every situation. We can't, keep falling asleep and falling for a new name or a new face, but they all come in the same name of either the Democratic ideology or Republican ideology, and both of them really represent one ideology. Like, we got to just quit playing games and be serious about that, because we are always the ones who get the worst of every situation that happens.
Yeah.
And one reason is because we continuously put faith in people who have shown us that their one job is not only to not help us, but to keep us economically, socially, and religiously enslaved until the end of time.
That's correct.
And so, again, I'm not gonna keep going on about that, but as you know, we always like to offer a solution.
Yeah.
Whenever we mention any problem. So one of the things that immediately popped in my mind is, they read off some of these decisions. You had all of these, you got a few professors, you got a few Moorish or African professors that are at some of these Harvards and Princetons and Yale, but even more importantly, you have many so-called HBCUs, like Howard has produced the highest number of lawyers and doctors out of any university in the nation as far as Moors and Africans go, right? According to the numbers. So the question for us and the answer should be, let's not even waste any time saying now we got to worry about how we gonna get into Harvard, how we gonna get into Yale. Let's take some of our own genius minds, even some of the ones who have graduated with these doctorate degrees. Let's take some of our entertainers, some of our politicians, and when I say our, I mean those who understand the need to start placing our existence
Yes.
and survival before singing Kumbaya, just like everybody else does.
Right, right, right.
Everybody come together, combine, and let's create our own prestigious university. And I'm not just talking about, the HBCU, because let's be honest, certain people of a arrogant mindset, they look down on HBCUs like a third, fourth class type college.
Right,
right? So, okay, cool. Let's get some of our prestigious brethren and sisters come together. Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Sean Cole, Tyler Perry, ETC, Oprah. Place your finance behind those brothers and sisters. And let's build our own prestigious university. It won't depend on the politics that are being passed or legislations that are being passed by white supremacists that are hiding behind black robes now instead of white robes like 100 years.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. And I absolutely agree. Because it's like you go one step forward, maybe two steps forward, they throw us a bone every now and then and make us think that we're going forward, that we're succeeding. And all the time, like you say, in the back room, they've already put into play laws that will take away things that absolutely define your rights in many cases as a human being, period. Um, we're not arguing religious beliefs, none of that mess. But even with regard to the abortion rights, I mean, people been legally getting abortions since I was a little girl. And then now we decide because they claim, I don't claim, to be so concerned about the Christian rights in this country. And I've gotten into some heated debates with people recently who keep referring to this nation as God-fearing, and it was founded on Christian beliefs, and we need to get back to our Christian beliefs. Okay, this country was founded on white supremacist ideology, and using the Bible to justify slavery and everything else. So this nation has never been one nation under God anyway. But and it certainly was never any liberty for injustice for all. But it's just becoming more and more out there, like things that we keep, I had our head in the sand so long we didn't want to see stuff. But now it's just like you have no choice but to see it. Every right that you have as a human being, whether it is regarding your body and who you can love and not love, now how you're going to be able to be educated is like, what is next? Like, and we have to, like you said, we have to just, acknowledge that we're upset, that we're pissed off, whatever, and then get to work. Because we have a tendency to sit in our emotions and just keep repeating and saying over and over and over how upset we are without doing anything. And then while we're sitting there whining and complaining and joining hands in prayer and thoughts and singing, like you said, kumbaya. They're over there making more moves. So we got to, be upset, be pissed off, pray, all of that, and then get to work because our children and our grandchildren, uh, I don't know what kind of world they're going to be coming into if we don't get up and do something toward, this whole situation. It's just annoying. I say, sometimes people make comments like you know, you can have a leader, a former president who's trying to be president again, who breaks every law that's possible to break, but it's not seen as breaking law by some people because, like you say, because of the system. Some, if somebody else do the same exact things, they would be already locked up. And so, just in general, we have to just stop pretending we don't know what's going on, for God's sake, and get to work to make a better world for our children. Oh, I sometimes find myself overwhelmed and frustrated because physically I'm limited in some things that I'd like to do, but I do what I can do. And I use my voice and my platform as much as possible. And I see other people in positions that could be doing that are physically, financially, all of that, able to do more. And they just sit back and say, I'm sending my prayers and my thoughts. Okay, well, thanks a lot, but we need a little bit more than that. So it's one of the reasons why I enjoy my conversations with you because I can bounce these things off of you.
Right. And those people, a part of this liberation process and a part of humanity. Again, people, all that I'm keeping you in my prayers, and this, that, and this. Yeah, that's beautiful. But when you get up off of your knees, you need to get over here and let's get to work. Because no matter what religion, ideology a person follows, again, and especially most of our people are gonna be Christians who have come up in this US of A. So again, let's face the fact. We gotta start calling out a lot of these mega churches, medium churches, small churches too.
Right.
Because they can't plan this both sides of the fence, preaching something from the pulpit, but then getting in bed with these same crooked politicians who enforce the laws that are oppressing their people. And then when the people come overwhelmed, all you can offer them is a prayer. But you're not telling them the truth about the politics of this society. People got to start calling these folks out on that and making them step up and be real leaders. And if you're not going to do that, then we're not going to keep lining your pocket, not going to keep placing nothing in the offering plate.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, we're going to run you up out of here and get us a real preacher in here that's going to be real for the people. Because, again, Yahusha, Yahshua, Jesus, whatever you want to call him, did not stand around praying. He was out there speaking up, going against the oppressors, and standing with the people.
Yes.
So I don't know whose example this is that these Christians are following these days, but they need to give it back to the slave masters and really start to become followers of Jesus.
Yes, yes. I love it. I love it. Because it was a little while ago, not too long ago, it was this big thing everybody was doing because how people always jumping on bandwagons. And it was what would Jesus do? Every time you say something, they're responsible. Well, what would Jesus do? And so now I'm asking, what would Jesus do? And we know based on the scriptures that we've read, and we know that there's a lot that is missing in a lot of the texts that the average person reads. But what we do read is that he was extremely active, advocating for the widows, the fatherless, the sick. He said, when you do things for them, you do it for me. So he was advocating for these people and had very little to do with the wealthy and religious leaders that thought that they had all the answers. Very little to do with those people. So if you really are a follower of Christ and you really are, trying to win the world over, then you need to become more involved in what's going on outside of your local church, what's going on outside of the church, period. Um, and so, you know, I could go on and on about that because that's my thing. But um, I'm trying to remind myself to have some sort of a balance with that. And that's something you and I have been talking about lately because I just get so frustrated with, just sitting up inside of four walls, talking to each other, regurgitating the same messages and singing the same song for 20, 30, 40 years. When right outside your door, there's a homeless person laying in the middle of the street. Um, there's somebody right, around the corner that's shooting up, and it's more to this thing than just being inside of a church wall. And so I love it. I love our conversations. I love where your journey has carried you, and um, I'm extremely proud of you and where you are in your life. Um, and I can't wait for when you come home and we can hit them in the neck together at the same time. Yeah, absolutely. Now I don't know how much more time we have. It seems like we've been talking for a good while, but I do. Okay, I want you to be thinking about. I want to talk about. There's a lot in the news lately about heat in the prisons and how it's affecting people. So I want to talk about that the next time we talk.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty then.
All right. I'll talk to you later on. Be blessed. Proud of you. Keep up the good work. We need you.
Thank you, darling. You keep up the good work too.
All right, Queen.
All right, my
Family is
prince.
love.
Family is forever.
All right, Sean.
Mishan.
Lock that door.
Okay.
All right, love.
Love you too. Okay.